President Trump offering this response to the No Kings protesters that gathered across our country this weekend. Watch.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country. I'm not a king. I work my off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Joining me now to react is independent journalist Evita Duffy-Alfonso. Evita, did these protests accomplish anything?
Well, I would say no, they did not. And I thought the president's points were spot on. So first of all, he's right. These protests were Soros funded, Open Society Foundation funded. And the other thing is, if you looked around at these protests, Todd, everyone was old. I have never seen a movement where there's energy and excitement and everybody's 55 and older. It's just impossible. It reminded me of the Women's March in 2016 or these DOJ protests where just everybody is elderly. There's no youth and energy behind this, which means it's pretty inorganic, which President Trump is right. It was inorganic. And if you think about what they're fighting for, right, anti-ICE protests, right, like they're angry that President Trump is deporting illegals. Who's that good for? Working class Americans. So there's a generational divide here, but then there's also, I think, a class divide in these protests. The people who are here are wildly out of touch with what normal, regular Americans want from this country.
And quite frankly, to your earlier point, a lot of those individuals, we don't have an exact number, but a lot of them were paid to be there. And that is concerning because that's not necessarily the organicness that you want to see in our society when you protest. Meantime, the DOJ has reportedly found evidence that Democrats are skewing crime information ahead of the midterms. The report from Fox Business senior correspondent Charlie Gasparino reads in part, quote, "The number of felonies in Chicago, not to mention New York, Los Angeles, and Portland, Oregon, is declining only because woke prosecutors are knocking down felonies to something less severe for political reasons," DOJ sources say. It looks like the Democrats are trying to get voters to ignore reality, and Evita, it looks like they just got caught.
Yes, and I understand why they would want to, because our cities are dying. They are dying. When I was a student at the University of Chicago, which is the south side of Chicago, classmates of mine were pistol whipped on their way to and from class. Classmates of mine were murdered for using public transit. And things have only gotten worse in Chicago. That was the time of Lori Lightfoot. Now we have Brandon Johnson. And what happened in 2020? We were told that law and order is racist. We were told that we have to empty out our psychiatric institutions and our prisons, and somehow that will make social justice prevail in America. And all that happened was that law-abiding citizens have suffered. We have been destroyed by blue city soft-on-crime policies. And I'm someone from rural America. I've always been from rural America. And sometimes people in rural America like to ignore what's happening in our blue cities. We say, that's not us. We have nothing to do with that. And the problem is we can't have a country that is thriving and surviving if our cities are dying. So it matters to everyone. And I'm glad that the DOJ is calling them out for their lies.
Yeah, to that point, though, Evita, the DOJ expects the upcoming reports that they have on this study, or what they discovered, will highlight worsening urban conditions, to your point, population flight from blue cities, and the economic consequences that, like you mentioned, impact us all. So, are we going to get any change from the voters? Are they going to stop voting for these politicians that are creating what we see in these cities? Or is it going to be more of the same from here on?
I have a big fear that it's going to be more of the same, because if you look at what's even happening in New York right now, what is Zoran Mamdani going to do for New Yorkers, right? He's somebody who's saying we're going to open up government-run grocery stores. We're going to have free public transit, which means that, of course, then they're going to become homelessness encampments. These are people who aren't interested in actually creating solutions for people in these cities. And unfortunately, it's a sad cycle, but they're going to continue to vote for these terrible politicians who perpetuate the blue city crime, and things are only going to get worse, and the people who know everything's bad are going to continue to flee, and it is a very sad state for America.
When you look at Connecticut, you look at Westchester County, you look at New Jersey, the real estate inquiries in those areas in light of the potential and likely win of Zohran Mamdani is intense. People are spending hundreds of thousands above asking just to get out of the city. Evita Duffy-Alfonso, thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.